So I've said it before and I'll say it again. Call of Duty has this really weird marketing thing where they like when history repeats itself. Recently, we got the return of Verdansk to Warzone, and that, like we've talked about before, is history repeating itself in so many different ways. But here's the thing. 5 years ago when Verdansk and Warzone was initially added into Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 2019, 20 days after, 2-0, so in other words, on March 31st of that year, 20 days after the launch of Warzone, we got something else. We got Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Now, a couple weeks ago, we started to hear some rumors that Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 were going to be coming to Game Pass. In other words, anyone could play those older games on Game Pass coming in April. Well, it is now April, and we just got one other new piece of information. And this might change everything we just talked about. Would history be repeating itself again, or are we going to be getting Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 Remastered? We're going to be looking at all of the evidence, but first let's dive into the article. So this is on Insider Gaming, and this is what it says. It seems like things are getting closer to a re-release of the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 for a new generations. Ratings of a cross-gen edition for both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 have appeared online thanks to an Australian classification board. As expected, both were given an MA 15+ rating. So in other words, they are both rated M. Now it says from here, both were given the classification on April 3rd with a production date of 2025. In other words, this year, it's coming out this year. For Modern Warfare 2, the game rated is a PlayStation 5 cross-gen edition. Modern Warfare 3's rating doesn't mention PlayStation 5, rather just it being cross-gen as well. So that is the weird part. The weird part here is that these games are not on Xbox. We just talked about them potentially coming to Game Pass, but what we're seeing here is not on Game Pass. These indeed are on PlayStation. So keep that in mind as we move forward. It continues to say no other details about the games are given on the website, aside from being from Activision Blizzard. And while it wasn't confirmed that it's the original Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the styling of using Arabic numerals as opposed to Roman numerals leads us to believe it's the games of 2009 and 2011. In other words, what that actually means is that in Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, the originals, they used the actual numbers, like the literal 2 and 3 on the game case. However, in the new ones from the last couple of years, they used Roman numerals. So in other words, like 2 lines for 2 and 3 lines for 3. Back in February, it was reported that 2009's Modern Warfare 2 was set to come to Game Pass sometime from March or April. Now, what does this mean? How can we make any sense of this whatsoever? So the confusing part is that it is coming to PlayStation 5 rather than just Game Pass. Because if these games were just coming to Game Pass, this would be pretty simple. You could play them on Xbox, you could play them on PC Game Pass if you were a Game Pass owner. But the fact that cross-gen editions would be coming to PlayStation 5 means that they would be re-releasing them to be able to buy them on new consoles, because as of right now, the only way to play these is to go back to like Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, which makes it relatively difficult. So how does this make any sense? So for months now, we have seen games like Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3 be re-added to the Xbox Game Store. Now, people never really understood why this was going on, but there was this kind of intention or thought that all of these Call of Duty games, because Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard, they would be coming to Game Pass. And then in February, as we just talked about, we heard the rumor that the games Modern Warfare 2 and then later on Modern Warfare 3, the originals, not remakes, would be coming to Game Pass in April or shortly thereafter, or at least announced in April. But then we see these. So what this tells me is that they're trying to do a little bit more than just bring them to Game Pass. It sounds like they are trying one of two things. This is where the confusion comes in. Number one, as of right now, Modern Warfare 2 is essentially unplayable on Xbox 360, like the older game. When you get in there, if you go into like a 6v6 game, it'll throw you into a 9v9 game with a hacker. You may reset all your stats, change your name, do a bunch of crazy stuff. And yeah, it's essentially unplayable. And there's been this rumor that if they were going to bring back these games, that they were going to upgrade the anti-cheat on them, make it so that essentially they are playable once again. And then on Game Pass, they would release essentially one game every month, 2 months, 3 months to kind of reinvigorate those games. Now, the problem with this is there's no money involved for Call of Duty in this, right? Like there's no microtransactions for these old games. They're not going to increase the revenue. The only way they would increase the revenue is increasing the Game Pass subscriptions, which is great. That's what Xbox is pushing to do. But if they re-release these games and say, we've fixed the servers, you can now play, and they are cross-play compatible with PC, with Xbox, via PC Game Pass, or maybe even Steam, as well as PlayStation, and now the servers are going to be reinvigorated with these players, they can essentially resell these old games by introducing crossplay in this new cross-gen edition. It is completely possible for them to do this, and maybe that's what we've actually been seeing. Now, I know what people want. People want something to what we got with Modern Warfare Remastered, where they upgrade all of the graphics, they redo the game, and like they did with that game, they inserted new weapons, new maps, things like that. Or they want something like H2M, which was a mod created for the original Modern Warfare 2, which basically took the original game and remastered it, and then added in new things like new maps created from the campaign, taking some maps from other games, and basically reinvigorating the game as a whole. I don't see that happening because I see them using this as a way to sell Game Pass subscriptions. And then if they can make some extra money by selling it on PlayStation, vice versa, that's the way that they would do it. But there's also one other option, and I think it's potentially a more likely option. They don't remaster these games, and potentially they don't even add them to Game Pass, even though that is the current rumor. The other option is back when 5 years ago, when they released Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered, the leak was, and what came out of the grapevine, is that they actually remastered all 3 games. They remastered Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3. But after Modern Warfare 1, they never made the multiplayers. They just made the campaigns. But the rumor is that Modern Warfare 3's campaign was already done. And maybe quite literally, they are trying to get the history to repeat itself of re-releasing the Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered 20 days after the launch of Warzone, which of course came out on April 3rd, which would lead us to April 23rd, 2025. Now, that is an extreme stretch. There has been no announcement of that. The only thing that we are going with is the Australian ratings board for some sort of new cross-gen edition of the original Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3s. It is a stretch, to say the least, but it is possible. So the two options are, they are trying to reinvigorate the old games via Game Pass and then sell a couple extra versions of it as well, which they would probably sell a lot of them. And option number 2 is it's just going to be some sort of Modern Warfare 3 campaign remastered, which me personally, being like the story guy for Call of Duty, I am game for, and hopefully they do some little changes like they did with the original Modern Warfare 2 remastered. But yeah, we are kind of up in the air past this, and I just wanted to keep you guys informed as to what we were hearing about this. I don't do like news too much unless it's like directly related to the story of the game, and with this kind of being like the history repeating itself, the return of possibly a campaign remaster, I wanted to keep you guys informed. And I also want to know what you guys think. Do you think it'd be good to do just the campaign remastered? Would you want the multiplayer fully remastered like Modern Warfare 1? Or would you just be good with them adding the old games to Game Pass and just fixing up the servers and fixing up the cheaters? Because personally for me, that might be the most fun. And then they could like release a reinvigorated version of Call of Duty on Game Pass like every 6 months, like kind of the mid-year way for a Call of Duty game, have an old game get re-released on Game Pass. That would be pretty neat as well. But For now, we don't fully know what is going to happen. As far as Xbox news goes, the one other thing that we did learn today, and of course I will cover this on the weekly reload, which by the way, if you didn't already know, has a brand new channel. It'll be linked down in the description. Every single Sunday, full-on news show. So make sure you check that out. But as I mentioned, as we found out today, there is going to be an Xbox Games showcase on June the 8th, which is around the time when a new Call of Duty game is announced. So stay tuned for that, June 8th, 2025. That's the next Xbox Games showcase. But until then, we're waiting. We're in limbo. Things are getting announced by Australia before everyone knows about it. So until next time, ta-ta. I don't think that sounded Australian, nor do I think that's what Australian people say, but I tried.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're